if you were to go on Shark Tank tomorrow and pitch your business to investors, do you think they'd be impressed by your business, or do you think they'd be concerned? When you're in the running of your business, especially if you're just a sole trader trying to kind of do all the things yourself, you're not actually able to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. So what can you start focusing on as a beauty business owner to improve your business in an investor's eyes? Hello and welcome back to another episode on the Beauty Industry Leaders podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Kennedy. So a quick personal update is I've recently been down in Albany with my amazing VA, Andre. She flew across from the Philippines. We've been spending some time together and really building out some strategies, not only for beauty industry leaders in 2025, but also for the Wild West bowling alley. And I've got to tell you, it's actually amazing having someone in person, being able to collaborate with ideas, have conversations, and really just get stuff done. I don't know, when you work on your own and you're running an online business, sometimes it gets really lonely. And so to actually have someone in person has been a really nice change in the dynamic of the business. But on top of that, in Albany, we have been facing a series of challenges that have just felt really frustrating and impossible, but at the same time, we know we're still moving forward. So, obviously finance has been a massive issue for us, and we have luckily found someone who has backed us and been able to help us get through. We've also had an incredible crew of people coming in and contributing their time, their resources, helping out with jobs, just to ensure that, we're able to get this bowling alley open. And something that was really beautiful that happened recently is we had a test run weekend and we were able to get all of our sponsors on board. We had over 66 individuals or businesses that contributed to helping us complete this project when we were on the verge of bankruptcy. We were on the verge of pretty much having no other options, no solutions, and people were just coming in and wanting to see us win. And that's been so beautiful, and I have so much gratitude to see that there are still people out there who are just really genuine. They want to see you win. And, we've just brought this community together. The Facebook page has almost like 4,000 followers now. Every post gets, 3 to 10,000 views. We're getting a lot of people commenting. It's super exciting to see where it's at. But one of the challenges we've faced is, if one trade's behind, then we got delayed by 1 week with the guys coming in to do the curbing. And because the curbing can't get done in the car park, we can't have our building certifier come on site and actually do all the final tick of approvals for us to take all that information to the City of Albany and then get our approval for our occupancy and then be able to have everyone come in from the public. And so one of the most heartbreaking things that has probably happened for me is getting really excited about this launch and this grand opening and realizing that because we got put behind, we probably aren't going to be able to have it. So it's Monday, the 18th as I'm recording this. So this 22nd to the 24th, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday was meant to be the grand opening. At this stage, it would be an absolute miracle. Honestly, anything can happen between now and then, but just given the timelines of these projects, people, going through all the paperwork, getting back to you, it's likely that it won't be happening. So we've just had to re-strategize and think about how are we going to be able to start really creating an effective system for people to be able to come in bowling instead of doing pay for X amount of games. We are moving towards a time-based model, which will be really interesting, and also been building out a lot of the hiring and recruitment process, which I'll be sharing my strategies about that in another episode. So there's so many cool different things that I've been doing within the business on such a large scale that I'm excited to bring back to you and share with you on this podcast. Now, I know bowling alleys and beauty salons, they're a little bit different, but at the end of the day, this is the 11th or 12th business I've been a part of now. And so being able to see all these different businesses and different industries, you can take the best parts from the different ones and create your own unique approach. And that's exactly what I'm doing on this podcast. I am sharing with you the best of the best so you can go and apply that if you see that it fits into your business. You can trial and test without having to go spend all the money, make all the mistakes, and learn the hard lessons that I have in my journey. So let's get into today's episode, which is your business an asset or a liability? Now, I feel like I'm someone who can talk about this purely because this is our 8th family business we've gone into, and I've had 3 of my own businesses. Now, when you go to create a business, obviously we have those, normal beliefs that it's unlikely that in the first 2 years you'll be profitable, and, you've got to see things out and see if it works. But I think that sometimes some ideas for businesses are just better off being ideas or hobbies or side hustles, and they're not actually viable or a good business idea. And so what I did the other weekend was I binge watched, I think, 2 or 3 seasons of Shark Tank. And I want to ask you the question, if you were to go on Shark Tank tomorrow and pitch your business to investors, do you think they'd be impressed by your business? Or do you think they'd be concerned? I thought it was really interesting to watch different entrepreneurs from all walks of life come to pitch their products. If you haven't watched Shark Tank before and you are running a business, I think it's a really great show for you to kind of see how investors think when they're looking at businesses. So what are the common questions they're asking? What are they looking for in a good business? What are the businesses that they're commonly turning away? I think that when you're in the running of your business, especially if you're just a sole trader trying to kind of do all the things yourself, you're not actually able to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. What are the long-term goals for the business? What are you actually working towards? What kind of team do you need to support it? What are the different revenue streams that are going to bring in the income to get you to that larger goal that you're working towards? And so after analyzing all these different episodes, here are some of the common questions that the sharks want to know. So the first thing is you need to sell them on who you are. What is your brand story and what is the motivation behind starting the business? Is it actually solving a problem? Is it something that you're passionate about, or was it just purely because you're like, everyone else told me to and I wanted to make some money? That brand story has the power to inspire and motivate and build a community behind it. And if there's a great story with a great product or a great service, it really helps the business grow. Other things that they're looking at is like, what's the market size of, the business or the industry that you're in? Are there currently many competitors in this space? And if there are competitors, what are they doing well, or what are you doing differently from them? And so that kind of leads me into my next point is like, what is your unique selling proposition? How are you different? I think I've said this before on another episode, but the world honestly does not need another beauty salon. It does not need another beauty business coach. It does not need another supplier unless they are uniquely different, unless they're solving a problem, whether it's faster, higher quality, more convenient. It needs to be different than what's on the market, because copycats are not going to innovate in our industry, and people want new, exciting, innovating things in their lives. One of the other questions I saw come up a bit was like, how much money have you actually invested in research and development? So this is for 2 reasons. Are you spending so much money researching and developing this product and it's not even launched yet, or it's not even getting the return that it should be? Or have you put no effort into it at all and you've just kind of gone on the cheapest website? Oh, yep, here's AliExpress, Alibaba, put my logo on and gone and launched. They care about how much time and energy you're putting into the business and how much opportunities you're creating for yourself to innovate in the future years. It's also a way of showing how passionate and dedicated you are to improving your product, your service, your business. Now, another thing I noticed is like, what is the cost per unit, or what's each unit retail at if they're selling a product? If you're selling a service, what's your break-even cost per service? Like, what's the cost of goods sold? How much are your operational costs factored into that time? They really want to know all of the numbers. Then on top of that, what is your profit margin? So how much money are you actually making on this service, on this product, on this offer. Because if there's no profit in it, it's not investable. Now, if your business hasn't been profitable, they really want to understand why. Obviously, in times when you're scaling, you might be investing in a new fit out. You might be pouring a lot of money into research and development. You might have scaled up and hired a huge amount of team. They want to know, okay, well, if it hasn't been profitable, why hasn't been? And then other things that you're currently investing in now going to bring you that return on investment later on. Other important stuff is like, does the business have any other debts that are owed or investors who already have a stake in the business? If there are debts to the business, if there are other stakeholders or shareholders, whatever you want to call them, then obviously whatever amount of equity the business makes, there's a lesser chance for them to make as much as they could potentially if there was no one else involved. And they also need to know, well, if there's profit in the business, there's equity in the business, how much is there actually to take? Is the business going to be producing enough for this to be worth my while? Like we've covered in other episodes, IP is massive. If you've developed a product, they want to know, is it patented? What trademarks do you have? Is it only in Australia or is it other countries as well? Now, if you're in beauty and you're offering services, if you have your unique approach or something like that, you would want to be potentially trademarking the name of the service so it's unique to you. When you have IP, when you are protecting yourself, that actually creates a barrier for other businesses to just go out there and copy you. If you're first to market, you'll also be remembered as that initial person. If you think about AI, what's the one brand or business that you always think of? It's ChatGPT, purely because it was first to market. I also see them ask a lot about what's your annual gross revenue and what's the net profit been for the last 3 years. A lot of the time, if the business is just in the ideas phase or it hasn't yet launched, they don't want to invest in an idea. They actually want, a few years worth of figures to really see what the growth potential and patterns have been within the business. Now, the other thing they want to know is, how is that money made? Is it just from organic alone, or are you also doing paid marketing? What kind of income streams are within the business? How many SKUs do you have? How many services do you have? It's really getting an idea of that bigger picture and all the things that you're offering. And then the last question, which is the most important question of all. If you're pitching and asking for money, like let's say you're going and getting a business loan out from the bank, or you're going to a family member, your partner, you're actually pitching to investors, whatever that looks like, they want to know, what do you plan to do with the money if they give it to you? Are you just going to blow it on things that aren't actually necessary? Or are you going to put it towards a plan that you've created to pay that money back, to get a return on investment? It's really easy to get handed money and then just go, oh, I'll buy this and I'll buy that and I'll do these things, and you run out of money. And that's exactly what happened to us with bowling. We initially got $675,000 out on loans, and it got to the position where trades went behind, building certificates, approvals, everything just started going the wrong way. Money was getting spent on things that were not necessary for the business to open, like arcade games, fridges, and all these other things. And suddenly our budget blew out to over $1.5 million, having to privately lend money from people, having to, ask people to come on board and help us. It's just been such a journey of like, if we had a structured plan for where that money was going, what was being spent on, having a buffer for it, all of that stuff, we probably wouldn't have made as many unnecessary purchases that put us in a financially detrimental position. And so at the core of all of it, if an investor's looking at your business, they're wanting to look at product market fit, the level of risk of your business, the amount of profitability it has, and the future potential for scalability. A great product or service is not a business. And it's very important for you to understand that a business is not just you being great at delivering that product or service. You actually have to understand the branding, the marketing, the sales, the financials, leadership, having a team in place, all your systems and processes. So if you were to turn investors away, like give them red flags and make them run for the hills, the kind of things that would scare them or not be appealing is having no plan, no structure, or no strategy. If you're just showing up in your business, you're winging it from day to day, you have no goals, no KPIs, no way of tracking things, no plan, like they're going to be very concerned and not look at you as an investable business. If you aren't committed, if you're kind of like, oh, I don't really know if I want this, or I'm kind of half thinking about it, and you're not actually going, this is how many hours I'm giving to working in the business. This is how many hours I'm giving to working on the business. This is where I see the future of it. I'm showing up every day. I'm giving it my all. Someone who's very committed is highly investable. Someone who lacks commitment, they're uncertain, they're not investable. A huge red flag would be not knowing the numbers. So if you don't know your sales, what your operational costs are, break-even costs, gross versus net profit, all of those things, it's going to be really hard for them to go, oh, wow, yeah, I would want to work with you. They'd be very concerned that you're not across the numbers in your business, and they wouldn't be willing to give money to something that they don't know is going to give them a return or be worth their while. If a business has products, then if those products have less than a 50% margin in profitability, they usually don't want to look at it. In terms of bricks and mortar or service-based businesses, if your business is making any less than 20% profit, usually they're sitting there going, well, there's not much in this for me to even want to invest my money or time. And so that's another thing. If you don't know the numbers, if you don't know your profitability, then people aren't going to want to work with you or give you money to continue to grow the business, because in their eyes, it's probably just not worth growing. Something that really offends the sharks, you see, is when people are overvaluing their company's worth. So they might say, I'm asking for $500,000 at a 2.5% share in the business. And people would just go, hold on, your business is worth $20 million and, they're only turning over $6 million in sales. It kind of makes it really hard for them to justify that valuation. And so even if you're listening to this going, I'm not making that much money, that's not relevant to me. If you ever think of selling your current business, you've got to think about, what is it actually valued at? What would people be willing to pay? What would people think are absolutely ridiculous? And what's something that is actually relatively fair? If you don't have any IP, trademarks, any kind of protection for your business, it is going to be extremely hard for people to want to invest, because they're scared that if they put their money into your business, someone else is going to take that idea. They're going to copy it. They'll replicate it. They will undercut, undercharge, and all of a sudden you can do nothing. You can't do anything about it. However, what is really appealing to investors would be a great product market fit. You've got a clearly defined unique selling proposition. You've also trademarked or patented some of your products, your services, your brand. You've got a clear plan for growth and scalability. You're likely to be working full-time in the business, or you have the team to support the growth. You're across all the numbers. You've got ad spend behind you. You're not just always relying solely on organic. You've got a 60% plus profit margin on your products. If you're a service-based business, then you would want to be aiming for at least 10 to 20% at a minimum. You'd have a fair valuation and realistic projection of the revenue. And like I was saying before, you own all the trademarks, the patents, and the licenses to protect your intellectual property. So what can you start focusing on as a beauty business owner to improve your business in an investor's eyes, or how you create it into more of an asset than a liability? Well, the first thing is revisiting your revenue and your profit margins. Investors would want to see multiple revenue streams beyond standard services. So this could include your retail product sales, memberships, any VIP packages, programs, journeys, online consultations, or branded products. In terms of your profit margins, the questions that I would be asking are the margins healthy, especially considering the overhead of labor, rent, and products. Beauty salons can have high costs. So if I was an investor, I'd be looking for solid profit margins. And then also, what's the cost management look like? How well is the salon managing its expenses? Are labor, rent, and supply costs controlled effectively? If you've got someone who has a big week and then they go, I'm going to blow this money on new suppliers, and then the next week they're too tight for cash and they can't afford to then pay their rent, like that's a big red flag for me. So not being able to factor in all the costs and make sure that throughout the year they're setting aside that allocation for income for all the different things so there aren't any nasty hidden surprises in the business. In terms of scalability, when we look at a business model, it's important that we're looking at it. Is it traditional brick and mortar model, or is there an element that could be scaled, like an online component, franchising, or a unique product line? So what's the next step from just offering services? How could we actually add in another revenue stream? Or how could we create more growth without it being so labor and time intensive for you? You also think about, is this business model replicable? So could the concept be easily replicated in other locations, or is it tied to a specific market or demographic? When you set up a business as well, you want to ensure that you have efficient, replicable systems in place for things like client management, your bookings, staffing, and inventory. These are really critical for smooth operations as the business scales. So if you don't have a system in place, you don't have an operations manual, you don't know how you're actually showing up and doing tasks on a day-to-day basis, you're not delegating, you're just winging it every single day, that business model is not scalable. When we look at businesses that are performing really well within the beauty industry, they usually have a clear, unique selling proposition. So what this gives them is differentiation, which makes them stand out from everyone else. And so if you've got a unique niche, exclusive services, or a twist that makes it memorable, like exclusive treatments, a luxury experience, or a tech-based booking and service model. So we see this a lot with people who are doing these online consultations. They're leveraging AI. They're really positioning themselves as different within the market. Also, branding is massive. When I got into business coaching, I'd just come from my beauty salon and I used to suck at my branding. Everything was pink because I thought beauty, pink. I am not someone who likes pink. Like I've always loved blue and green, black, red, like just very neutral, not a lot of color. But as soon as I started trying to be like everyone else and be the pink, I just didn't stand out. Now as a business coach, I've got green, I've got the dark aesthetic, and people actually pick me out because I'm not a pink business coach. I'm not trying to do all the girly branding. I'm trying to do the high-end luxury branding because that's the type of brand I love and the type of people I want to attract into my world. So when you've got a great brand and it's appealing and it's got a unique identity, that can then foster more loyal clientele and it can improve your brand presence. Now, other things to think about is if you want your business to be an asset, you need to master client retention and acquisition. So with retention rate, you're thinking about how am I ensuring that I have, an 80, 90% client retention rate? How well are you currently retaining clients? High retention often means strong customer satisfaction and reliable revenue. If clients aren't rebooking with you, then that's a big red flag. Either you don't have a great sales process in place, you don't have high quality customer service, or you're not getting the clients the result that they're paying for. And so you really need to ensure that your service, your delivery, and your experience are high end so that you can retain those clients and create the consistency in cash flow in your business. Now, marketing and lead generation is something that I am an expert in. I have helped so many beauty business owners get fully booked across beauty salons, coaching and consulting. I've helped e-commerce brands sell out their products. And what does it come down to? It comes down to creating a marketing strategy that brings in new clients consistently. And so if you don't have this system, if you haven't developed a lead generation system, you keep adding more products and services and offerings into your business, it's going to be really hard for people to look at your brand and go, oh, yeah, that's a good thing to invest in, because you don't have a system for making the business generate more money. And at the end of the day, the sole purpose of a business is to solve a problem in a unique way within the market for people. But then at the same time, you also need to be making money. You can't just have the great product or service. You need to have the marketing strategy in place to continue growing the brand, the business, having more people coming in and spending more money with you. We also want to look at your customer experience and service quality. So like I was saying before, if you've got a great client experience, investors are going to gauge the quality of that experience from booking to service delivery. Any unique touches or standout customer service would be attractive. They're also wanting to look at your online reviews and reputation. So have you got a strong reputation? Because this can directly impact profitability and the growth potential. Now, if I'm investing in your business as well, I'm wanting to look at your owner and team competencies. So what kind of experience do you as an owner have? Do you have a proven track record in the industry, a clear vision, and strong management skills? If you've got a team under you, is there a well-trained and motivated team in place? Or does the business rely too heavily on the owner? Investors would want a strong, independent team to reduce dependency on the owner. Now, if you ever look at a business when it's getting sold, the businesses that run without the owner needing to be there significantly sell for a lot more than the ones that rely heavily on the main owner always working or being on site for that business to run. Now, in our industry, we are seeing a lot more adaptation within the technology space. And so is the business looking at product development or digital expansion? So in terms of a product line, if the salon has developed its own product line of products or is considering it, investors might see that opportunity for expansion through product sales, either in store or online. So that's like, cool, we're going to be bringing in more money to the business. In terms of digital expansion, which is something that I have done, I've gone out of the beauty industry and gone into coaching, being able to sell courses, being able to sell trainings, being able to sell in-person events. What that's done is allowed me to leverage online channels, virtual consultations, online bookings, training courses, all those things for other beauty professionals. And so if you're able to add that form of income into your business and have a team who's running the beauty salon, all of a sudden you may be adding another $100,000, $200,000, $500,000 into your business, which makes it more of an asset for you. Market demand and trends is a super interesting one, because I believe that there's a difference between quick trends and evolutions. And so if you're seeing that the industry is evolving in a way, for example, we've got a lot of clean beauty now, we've got sustainability, we have people who are wanting to go for more eco-friendly products, non-invasive beauty treatments. If you are ignoring all of those evolutions of the industry, great example is brow lamination. If you're someone who's always stuck on, I have to offer brow wax and tint, and you never tried the dye, you never tried brow lamination, you're not actually moving with the way the industry is headed, what you're going to do is you're going to stay in the past. You become irrelevant. People don't want to work with a business that's dying out and not adapting. On top of that, we look at the market demand. So is the demand for this type of salon or beauty business expected to grow? Because we want to look for indicators of a stable or expanding market. Now, the last thing that I would be looking at as an investor is your exit strategy and your return on investment potential. I actually spoke about this with one of my guests, Isabel Violet, within some of the first few episodes I recorded, and I remembered she spoke about not having an exit strategy and not really knowing what to do. Her lease was finishing up. She wasn't sure if she wanted to renew it, to expand and grow the business, or if she just wanted to, leave it behind, or if she could even sell it and what could she sell it for. So when you go create these businesses, as much as you might think, oh, I really want to stay and do this forever, it's also really important for you to have an exit strategy. So first of all, before you think about the exit strategy, you want to think about what's the return on investment for all the time, energy, and money that I'm currently putting into this business. Is it actually providing a return on investment? Are you seeing profit hitting your bank account? Do you have steady profit distributions, or do you even think of a potential exit strategy? So if you were to sell this business, how much profit could you potentially get from it? Another thing for your exit strategy could be, do you have the viable exit plan? Is it franchising? Is it selling it to a larger company? Or are you maybe thinking of opening multiple locations? Like, what is the next step from where you currently are? If you can stop thinking about, how am I going to show up tomorrow? How am I getting through the day today? And you think about, where do I want to be 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And just have an idea. Obviously, not everything goes to plan, but if you have that idea, if you have something to work towards and you create a plan and a strategy for it, it makes it that much more achievable and realistic for you to do as a business owner or an entrepreneur. So ultimately, investors would want to see a salon that isn't just a local business, but a concept with broader potential, solid financials, and a strong team that could support growth and bring in a good return on their investment. Now, when I was doing a lot of research around beauty salons versus beauty products versus coaching, like all the different kind of areas that you could own a business within the beauty industry, if that makes sense, beauty salons are generally considered to be moderate to high risk as an investment by many investors. And here's why. They have high overhead costs. The rent and labor absolutely kills them. They usually have a lot of high product and supply costs, especially if they're using those premium or branded products. There's a lot of competition with market saturation and price sensitivity. You're depending heavily on location and foot traffic. So you need that local client base in place. Otherwise, it makes it really hard for your business to thrive if everyone has to travel, 40 to 60 minutes just to see you. With beauty salons in particular, there is a bit of economic sensitivity. And we've seen this happen throughout the last 4 years. It is one of those things that people who really value it and love it will pay for it no matter what. But a lot of the time it is highly reliant on discretionary spending. So, you've got to make sure that your business is attracting really high level clients who aren't price sensitive. Because if you're always going for the bargain hunters, the discount, the people who can't afford the beauty services on a day-to-day basis, then as soon as something happens to the economy, they're the first ones that drop off, and it creates this huge level of volatility in your revenue, and it makes it harder to predict that cash flow consistently, which we all know is incredibly stressful. Now, the last thing is, in beauty, you have a lot of high client expectations and reputation management. And so you're highly dependent on word of mouth reviews, reputation. If you have a few bad reviews or you're inconsistent with your service quality, that can really affect the client retention and acquisition. And so you've got to spend a lot of time doing the ongoing training, delivering that excellent customer service, and being super consistent with doing this on a regular basis. You don't just take one course, go out, create your business, and that's the last training you do. Each year, you should be investing in upskilling. You should be looking at getting trained in different areas of your business. And I'm not just saying this as a business coach. I'm genuinely saying if you want to stay ahead of the industry and you want your business to last within the next 5 years, 10 years, you need to understand things like marketing. You need to understand things like your number. And they're generally not things we're taught at school or during your beauty training. So making sure that you're investing in learning those skills or improving and building on those skills is going to keep you ahead of the market. Now, here's some factors that can really lower the risk of your business being a liability. So like I was saying before, you want those loyal clientele, those high retention rates. You want to look at product sales and the future of adding in additional revenue streams within your business. But in saying that, you want to ensure that those revenue streams are financially viable for you and you have the right systems or team in place to ensure they run effectively. So this could be your retail products. It could be membership models. I know that that's really hot in the industry right now. And then the last thing is looking at expanding your service offerings. So is this special? So if you're offering niche or high demand services, they're specialized treatments, then what that can do is create a higher perceived value and a stronger market position. And like I've kind of said a few times throughout here, are you looking at having some form of online presence or digital expansion? So making sure that you've got an online booking system, making sure that you're going and doing your social media marketing, making sure that you have your website set up. Are you offering online consultations? Do you have products that people can buy online? All these things can help you stabilize your income stream. So all in all, beauty salons, they tend to be moderate to high risk investments because they have high fixed costs. They're reliant on that local demand and they face economic and reputation driven volatility. However, the salons that develop the strong brand, they achieve high client retention, they diversify their revenue and adapt to market trends, such as those retail products, those memberships, they can mitigate some of these risks, making them more stable and attractive to investors. In the beauty salon industry, profit margins can vary widely based on factors like location, service offerings, target clientele, and cost management. So I want you to start thinking about where your business is currently at. All of these points that I've made, are you currently implementing them into your business strategy? Are you improving upon them in your business strategy? Or is it something that you've never even thought of? There's so many different things that you can do to make your business more of an asset and less of a liability. And this is exactly something that I am teaching you how to do in the beauty industry leaders community. There's not enough genuine people out there who are trying to teach you all the ins and outs of the different types of business models and the different strategies or systems and processes you can have in place to actually achieve them. And so what we're doing in this community is giving you short, actionable strategies and advice that can really help you get more clarity and get more results within your business. If you were sitting listening to this episode going, wow, I really need to do that, or that's something that I want to try, but I just don't know how to action it, the beauty industry leaders community is the perfect place for you. This is your go-to space for beauty business owners who want to scale up without sacrificing your well-being and always being burnt out. Inside, you'll get access to exclusive strategies, expert guidance, and a supportive network to help you stay on track and reach your goals. And here's the thing, it's not just me. It's not beauty industry leader, it's beauty industry leaders. And I've had other incredible people who have scaled up franchises to having 30 plus locations and over 500 team members through to being able to have someone who's been in the e-commerce space selling supplies and products for the last 6 years. I've had myself who has been a part of all these different businesses across different industries, wearing the different hats from things like running events, selling courses, doing coaching, running a beauty salon. All of us have come together, and what we're actually doing is we're bringing something different to the beauty industry. Instead of overwhelming you with all these weekly videos and go do this homework and go do that, we have just once a month a 90-minute live session where you get taught how to implement one thing in your business and do it really well. We'll give you the resources, we'll give you the calculators, the templates, the scripts, whatever it is that you need to learn and implement that thing in your business. So you don't have to think twice about it. You can just go out and action it and track it for the next month, get the result, and then slowly add in another thing. There is also mini trainings and other incredible assets in the community. However, our approach is to really ensure that this is accessible information for people who want to level up, who want to do the work, and who want to take action. And I know that if you're tuning into this podcast every single week, that is you. And so I really want to invite you to come and join me and everyone else on this journey. It's only 197 AUD a month. That's including GST. There's no hidden fees. If you want to sign up for a year, we've got an offer for 1997. And if you actually work out the maths behind that, it's only $38.25, I believe, or around $38, $39 a week if you buy the 12 months up front. However, if you buy monthly, it makes it less than $50 a week. And to get access to that community, to get access to those strategies and all of the knowledge and experience from these people, you are going to be miles ahead of others in the industry. And so if you want to join, please sign up today using the link in the show notes. I really look forward to having you as part of the community and being able to support you in achieving your goals of making your business an asset and not a liability. And my last question to you is, if you've been sitting on the fence, you're not sure, do I do it, do I not? If not now, when? When are you going to do it? When's the right time? There's never going to be a right time. And for the people that know, today's the day you make change, not tomorrow, not the start of Monday, not the new year, today. I look forward to seeing you in there. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode, and I look forward to catching up with you again next week. Bye.
Audience exclusive.